Hello and welcome to Walpole United WFC.
Good afternoon. It's Anthony here for my Friday's afternoon Anthony Odds On show. I'm joined by John Foster. How are you this afternoon, John?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Quite impressed with our predictions last week, so we'll run through them, I'm sure. How are you doing, Anthony? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, my voice came back. Obviously, the excitement of 18 months building up was a brilliant night. But yeah, I'm good. Thank you, John. Anyway, we'll get on. Luckily, we got some odds today from the experts, which was a bit of a trickier situation last week. Hence, why the switch to a Friday afternoon. We will discuss the weekend's games. We will also go into our predictions for the games this week, and I will also mention an update on the Super League odds for the top four, for how games have changed the odds this week. But firstly, I'm going to start on a quick preview of last week's score and how me and John did in our predictions. So I'm going to read out the score lines and then I will ask a question. So Chelsea lost 3-2 to Arsenal. Man United beat Reading 2-0. Villa 2, Leicester City 1. Everton 0, Man City 4. Tottenham Hotspurs 1, Birmingham City 0. And Brighton Hove Albion 2, West Ham 0. Now, out of those teams, John, who impressed you most? I don't know if you watched all the games on highlights or that, but have you got a team that impressed you?
Yeah, I think it's easy to say that obviously your own team or Arsenal. I mean, we could probably touch on Arsenal shortly as well. But for me, it was the game that I went to on Saturday. This was at the Banksy Stadium. It was Villa against Leicester. Now, I was really excited about this game. Obviously, being a local lad to Birmingham, two teams I was kind of looking at a little bit. And I have a bit of a soft spot for Villa and Birmingham this season, obviously from the area. And Leicester, of course, three of our former players going to Leicester. So I was really hyped going into this game. And I know this is one prediction I did actually get right with a 2-1 win to Villa. So I would say Villa impressed me, but I wasn't too surprised either, because I think going into this season, I think Villa's made some very good signings and they're being quite underrated by quite a few people. And potentially Leicester's been slightly overrated. Now, I appreciate it's the first game of the season and it's easy to say all these things. But one of the reasons why I did say Villa was going to win 2-1 is because I genuinely thought that they did have something about them. And they did, throughout the game. I thought they was unlucky to go 1-0 down. But then the fans got behind them. The fans did quite well in the stadium. It was a great turnout, by the way. A lot of travelling fans from Leicester as well. Not as noisy as Leeds Force Village, not as noisy as the United fans, but it was a good turnout. And but yeah, then obviously Villa just pulled second and pulled the goal back and got the winner quite in a short amount of time, and then that pretty much killed off Leicester then. So that was a great game for them. But obviously, based on scores, Arsenal winning that derby game was a fantastic result for them as well.
Yes, 100%. And I'm going to go into Arsenal in a minute. But I'm going to looking at last week's results. How important do you think having the fans back? I'm looking at the results, and other than Everton losing 4-0 at home, the team that won was at home.
Yeah, I think when you look at that, it is massive help, especially with United fans, because we're screaming loudest. Now, I'm not too sure if the Tottenham game, Tottenham Birmingham game, or Brighton game. I'm not too sure if they've got the same impact as what we had. But if I can just base it on the game that we went to, we pushed that ball over the line so much, and we got so much behind our players. If ever there was a bit of a quiet spell and they kind of lost their energy, we give them that energy back. And they also just didn't want to let us down, did they? It was a great turnout. I think, was it 1,700 people that turned up, I think, at LSV, which was, for our first game back, is very impressive with it being on Sky. So, yeah, absolutely, with the fans being back, it definitely lifted the players. We could see the smile on the faces before the game, during the game, after the game. The manager as well, Mark Skinner, obviously loved having us there. And for anyone who's watching this who was wondering who the male voice was in the crowd, that was Anthony's. So if you heard a single male voice singing a song, that was Anthony. So fair play to Anthony. You got the crowd going as well, and the players loved it and they reacted.
Yeah, obviously it took a bit of use to with some new songs and that. The fans, they like to banter me, but it got them going though, and that's what I wanted. We wanted, especially after, like I said, for so long, we wanted the players to know that we were there. Like I said, that little bit of energy, and that if it can get them performing 10% more, then we're doing our jobs.
Yeah.
And I know we were disappointed. I don't want to go too much onto the season, but I know we were disappointed that when Casey gone. But Mark Skinner, I just like his aura. I just like the way he speaks in his interviews and that, and just the way he mentions the fans and that I think yes, there is going to be sticky patches, and he'll realise that himself. But we've all got to stick together. But so far, so good.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about how we kind of pushed our players over the line a little bit and how much the players responded to us. How about the actual excitement that we brought ourselves in the crowd as well? Because, one person cheering made other people cheering. We was like laughing with you, Anthony, starting the songs. But as soon as you went quiet, I had people in front of me saying, tell Anthony to start singing again so we can join in. This is the way it was, and this is what we've missed for the last 18 months. So it wasn't just players on the pitch that was excited to hear us. We was excited to hear ourselves, weren't we?
Yeah, definitely. There was a couple of times they went, and even at one point they went, Anthony, give us a song.
Yeah.
So I did, but as much as I enjoyed it, I'm glad we're going to have a bit of a shared responsibility next game, Leicester. I'm glad Nat's back, and fair play to her. She does it week in, week out when she's there, and that's just the way she is. I try my best, and I'll try and do my best to help each other out. So if she needs a break or something, then I'll get them going. So hopefully the two loudest at King Power will be me and Nat. Obviously, other than Scotland for Nat, Nat's had to wait even longer, unfortunately, because she was isolating. But I'm sure she's looking forward to it like we were looking forward to Reading.
Definitely.
But you touched on Arsenal. Now, a great result for Arsenal. 3-2 at the Emirates. And like I've discussed before, when you're playing the top teams, the first game can sometimes be the best time to play them, like for Man United last year against Chelsea. Now, I believe there was a couple of dodgy decisions, but you can't take that away from Arsenal. It's not them who makes the decisions; it's the ref. But how can we discuss the Super League odds last week with the arrival of Tobin Heath now? I know you said you generally thought Chelsea and Man City would be battling out.
Mm-hmm.
Has anything changed? Do you generally?
Question, yeah.
Yeah. Do you generally think Arsenal could really push it now? You look at their strike force. Tobin Heath can play there. You've got Nikita Paris. Beth Mead scores the goals. The Japanese forward. So they've got some depth there.
Yeah, they've signed really well. They arguably had the best summer regards the top four. I think Man City have done well, but I think signing Tobin Heath could really be a game changer for them. Arsenal was a team that I thought that we were most likely to catch this season. But Tobin Heath will add those extra few goals and those extra few assists that maybe the Wolves have had without Tobin. This is obviously the prediction. This is what you'd expect to happen. Now, I wouldn't get carried away, obviously, for the first game. I still think Chelsea and City have got a strong squad. We know one player doesn't change a team, but when you talk about like moments during the game, if you need someone to suddenly change the game and create you that goal, that winning goal where it's 2-2 and you need that extra goal, if anyone's going to create you that goal, it's Tobin Heath more than anyone in the Arsenal team. And when you're 1-0 down against, say, for example, City, and you just need that equaliser, Tobin can give you that. So I'm not saying that she's going to single-handedly win them the league or, win them silverware, but if you need a game changer, or if you need someone just to do something in a game to give you those extra 1 point or 2 points, then Tobin's your person for that. Now, I know the odds are getting shorter for Arsenal, and rightly so with that signing and that opening victory, but I'd still say Chelsea and City, especially with City being knocked out of Europe now, they can focus more domestically. But let's put it this way, I'm not as confident of catching Arsenal as I was a week or two ago. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, like you said, the odds have shortened. They were 7-2 before the start. The experts now have them at 5-2. So that result obviously reflects in it, but it's one result. If you look at Man United, the experts had them at 50-1 last week, and they've dropped them down to 40-1. Now, I know Reading are a very organised, disciplined side, and they probably count themselves unlucky with that shot that they believe to have gone in. But I think the experts' opinions at an early stage are not too much to look into. I think as you get in further into the season and teams start dropping points, and that's when the experts' odds, I feel, make more of a point. Would you agree?
Yeah, I do. Look, like I say, it's one of these various marathon, not a sprint, isn't it? So I think, the experts are experts for a reason. They're looking to a lot of things behind the scenes. They have people working for them who know the game, who know the percentages and this, that, and the other. And I think, they will get it right 9 times out of 10. But I do think that, like I say, the top 3 will be good over the course of the season. And I think we will as well, to be honest. I think we're going to, I think we're going to turn a few heads. I do think, judging on our first performance, we might prove a few doubters wrong, and hopefully that'll be the case going into Christmas, where we're in a good position and hopefully still challenging those top 3 for silverware or a battle for the Champions League places. Yeah,
fingers crossed. We've seen Mark Skinner isn't afraid to make tactical changes, which is great, which is something Casey was a bit static with sometimes, unfortunately, and teams did find us out. They knew what we were going to do, so that element of surprise, even in the team selection, who would have thought Millie Turner wouldn't have started? Now, my boy, being, you know what kids are like, went to Millie. Oh, were you injured?
Oh,
yeah. And she went, oh, no, I'm fit and healthy. So that to me means he made that important decision to leave her on the bench. Now that does take some guts, considering she hadn't missed a league game until the first league game this season. So he's he's not afraid to make big decisions for the benefit of the team, which I think is great. And I feel like if he has to make them sort of decisions week in, week out, he will, and he'll think, well, you deserve to play for a reason. And you've not been performing, so I'm going to drop you. Which at times with Casey, you felt like there was a couple of times where she did, but the majority of the time you felt like you had to do a lot wrong.
If I could touch on that as well, I think we're in a position now where we have actually got 3 good centre backs, haven't we? So it's unfortunate that at one point one of them is going to miss out, and I think it's such a big shock because usually it's Millie Turner and someone, so it's Millie Turner and Amy Turner, Millie Turner and Abby, and obviously then Maria came in last season, but we didn't see too much of her. And I think it's a shock to the fans because Millie, crowd favourite, but also she's always been the one consistent one, hasn't she? But I think obviously we spoke before about Mark looking at the rivals, looking at the opponents, thinking, okay, so what do we need to do to make sure that we win this individual battle on the pitch? And maybe he went for either experience or he went for more physicality, perhaps. Obviously, we know Maria is probably a bit more stronger than Millie, and she had a great game. And I did a show last night with Simon and Nat, and we spoke about the centre backs, and it's good, like you say, he's not frightened to make a decision. And he's got to have a lot of decisions to make this season because we have got so many players who are deserving of a starting 11. But yeah, it's going to be great to see how he kind of keeps these players happy, and I'm sure he will. But it's great to have options now, and that's the main thing. We've got options, and he's going to be able to look at the opponents, look at what we've got, and win the game that's ahead of him. He's not looking at the bigger picture. He's looking at the individual game. Okay, so this is our 11. This is their 11. These are our game changers. These are their game changers. And it's going to be a very tactical battle this season, I think.
Yes, no, I agree with you. He mentioned in his interview how we look forward to the next game, Leicester. We don't look forward to Chelsea. Leicester is the main focus for next. So, yeah, I agree with you there. I think we've got a lot to look forward to this season. I know we've touched on it before. It's injuries. If we can stay fit, which I struggle why we get so many injuries with the amount of games we have, because after the I know we have international break and that, but after the Man City game, there's like a nearly a month break. So I don't know if they're doing something wrong or it has been discussed before, but I generally think if we can keep fit, then we've got so many options and we can change it. And I know we didn't sign a striker other than Martha Thomas, which we all wanted. But Russo, if she stays fit, she's going to bang them in. She knows where the goal is. She's good with her head. What we saw of her last season was encouraging. Unfortunately, she got that injury and never got quite fit for the end of the season, which was a shame. And obviously with the other injuries. But I generally think, like you, I think we can be excited. So let's see how we get on during the season. It's like I said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And I'm looking forward to it. But I'm going to move on to our predictions from last week. Now, out of the 6 games, you predicted the scoreline in 2 games, which was Villa beat Leicester 2-1. And you also had Spurs Birmingham. I had 1 correct result, which must have been beginner's luck because it was the first game. It was Man United 2, Reading 0. And I also got 2 correct teams to win, which were Man City. We both got Man City. and I got Brighton, whereas you got. Where did you? Oh, sorry, you got Villa.
Yeah.
You got Villa, and I might have messed up there. No, because you had 14, so I think you had Villa and Spurs, but I've done some calculation wrong there. There is something that you definitely had 4 correct, because you got the Brighton one wrong, and you had the Chelsea one wrong, but we all had the Chelsea one wrong. Cause I think we were all surprised. But I'm going to touch on it. Out of the odds that we were given for last week, interestingly, three of the favourites won, and 3 of the favourites didn't win.
That's interesting.
Now, it's a funny old game with the experts, because obviously Leicester, one of the teams that were the favourites, but they quite clearly lost. What do you feel like with three them getting 3 favourites? And
that's interesting. I would have thought it would have been more. So I'm guessing. So obviously, Arsenal would have been one that they got wrong. Arsenal, yes, because I would the one to predict.
They were minor. They were minimal. Chelsea,
yeah,
it was like slight favourites. So
Leicester, you mentioned against Villa. So who was the other one that they got wrong?
Surprisingly, they had West Ham as favourites.
Okay.
But I felt, as I discussed in my prediction, I felt that Brighton are one of them teams that were playing at the Amex. I felt comfortably that they would go on and win, and I got that one right, luckily. So it is a strange one when it comes to. This is why the experts are very good at keeping their mullah, because the experts entice you in, and then there's always one team that let you down.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but
it was a great weekend of football, and we haven't really mentioned Everton losing 4-0 to City that much, but I mean, I don't know what the odds were for a 4-0 win for City, but I don't think many people expected it to be quite a big scoreline. I was expecting City to win, and I think I might have mentioned on last week's show, either this one or a different show, I was expecting City to pretty much dominate the game, but to win 4-0 is amazing. And if you have a look on Gareth's show, which was out at midday on Tuesday, he did a bit of a tactical analysis on how Everton just got outplayed quite easily. And I think it's well worth the watch if you haven't seen that, because it just made it look so easy. So to lose 4-0, that's not a great start for them either.
Yeah, I was going to say that I've seen Gareth talk about it, and we watched it as well. And the first half, you could quite clearly tell that they got their tactics wrong a bit. They had too much space, and on a big pitch like Goodison Park, with a team like Man City, you can't afford to give them all that space. Man City was probably, they could have quite easily had more. I think the optimism Everton had because of all the signings they got, I don't know if it surprises me. I know there's always a big result. So, and it will take time. Everton will get better, I feel. Willie Kirk, I feel, will realise where he's gone wrong. But with every team, it takes time to gel, and I feel Everton's results will prove. They might not improve this week, but I feel like that leads me nicely into this week's this week's games. Now, we have got West Ham Villa, which is the Saturday lunchtime kickoff. The experts have West Ham as favourites at 10-11. You can get a draw at 11-4, and an Aston Villa win at 11-5. So the experts don't think there's much difference between a draw and a Villa win. But can you see it being the home factor, and that's the reason why West Ham are favourites for that?
Yeah, I think that's the reason, because West Ham are at home. But are we going to give our predictions now, or are we going to wait a little bit?
I'm going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the games, and then I'll ask.
No problem. I think this particular game is it's a battle of the Clareton Blues, isn't it? I'm looking forward to this game again, because I think Aston Villa might come out of this one with a lot of confidence. It's one of those games where if West Ham win, they'll get confidence. If Villa wins, they'll get even more confidence. I do think, obviously, West Ham being at home will be a factor. I don't know if it'll be the deciding factor. I don't know if it'll be enough. But it's definitely going to be a game where both teams are going to go into it thinking that they can both get 3 points. I'll give a score prediction later, but I am leaning a bit more towards the Midland team so far, I think, on this one.
Okay, yeah, no, good point. No, I'm not too sure myself. I will give my predictions when we get to them, but I think I might have a draw on that, but I won't give too much away. Then we go on to Sunday. There's only one Saturday game and no Friday night game this week. We have Chelsea v Everton. Chelsea's first game. Doesn't get any easier for Everton personally. And the experts will agree there. You can have Chelsea at 1-8.
Oh.
It's 11-2 for the draw and 12-1 for Everton to win. Now, the odds are slightly shorter than they were against City, but not much. So that doesn't breathe confidence for Everton fans, I'm sure.
1-8 for a football match, Anthony. You'll know yourself. It's almost unheard of. I mean, 1-8. That's very, very firm favourites. That is, and I can understand it. You know, they are favourites, and I'll probably go for Chelsea to win. But Chelsea, obviously, yeah, you could say that they're like a wounded animal. They're going to come back stronger, absolutely. But so could Everton be as well. I think 1-8 there, and so 12-1 for Everton to win. It only takes a dodgy decision. You know, that's not a bad one there. But yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. I want to win. I don't want to draw. I want one manager to lose, whether it be Emma Hayes or Willie Kirk. I want one of them to suffer. So I don't mind who it is, to be honest. Any of them lose. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Definitely got both eyes on this one.
Fair. Yeah. Well, I'm not as fussy as you, John. I would take a draw.
Yeah.
If one of them had to lose, for championship reasons, I would want Chelsea to lose.
Yeah.
If you were to have a flutter, then quite clearly the experts don't give any Everton chance. And if you were to win through the experts, then you are laughing. So
definitely.
I find with the WSL, there's a lot of, unless you're playing the top 4, then the odds from the experts are quite similar. But once you play Chelsea, Arsenal, Man U or Man City, the odds do go up and higher. But then we will go on to Reading v Arsenal now. Now, as you may already think, Reading are 15-2. You can get the draw at 9-2, and Arsenal are at 2-9. So in expert terms, there's no point betting on Arsenal because you don't really benefit anything.
Yeah, I think with this one, this one to me is more of a favourite than Chelsea and Everton. It really is. And I know the odds don't show it because Arsenal are playing away. But for me, I think Arsenal are going to go into the third game of the season really, really looking on form. I know City won 4-0 and Arsenal only won 3-2. but I really fancy Arsenal on this one. I think they'll get that momentum going. I'm not sure if Tobin's able to play, but even if she's not, I think their momentum at the moment, their morale is up, much like ours as well. But I think that they'll go into this game expecting to win, hungry to win, new manager as well. So I really fancy Arsenal for this one. And it's a shame for Reading, obviously losing the opening game of the season, now them up against Arsenal. When you talk about Everton's first 2 games with City and Chelsea, Reading as well, Arsenal and United in their first 2 games. That means they've still got Chelsea and City still to come as well. So I think Reading might feel a bit of pain in over this weekend.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I can only see one winner there as well. Like we've discussed before, Reading have lost a lot of experience. And so it will take them a bit of time. I'm like you, I don't really give Reading much of a chance. Arsenal, Nikita Paris didn't even start the other day. If I remember correctly, I think she come off the bench. So to have someone like her even to come off the bench is a scary thought. It's like, say Beth Mead gets injured, you got Paris on the bench, then it's a bit like the Man City men, isn't it? When they have De Bruyne to come off the bench or something. So, no, I can only see one win, like you say there, John. Arsenal win for me. Now we will go on to Leicester, Manchester United. Now, Leicester City are 8-1. It's 9-2 for the draw. And this might surprise you a bit more. It's 2-9. So same odds as Arsenal to beat Reading, which in pit and turns is odds on, really.
Yeah.
How do you feel with that, knowing that what did happen in the FA Cup game?
I think what this shows is sometimes we can get blinded by what the fans say, or obviously fans who support their own team. So we listen a lot to what Leicester fans have to say. We've got a good relationship with Leicester fans, the channel do. And, we can see Jess Sigsworth come in and the quality of, Abby McManus joining the club. But I think it also shows when the experts say that, let's not forget about how good United are as well. So to be 9-2 is, I would say, strong favourites, but it's fair. 2-9, sorry. Yeah, sorry, 2-9, 9-2. Yeah, so I think that is very good odds, isn't it, in United's favour. What was Leicester's odds to win?
8-1.
So that's not good. That's not. They don't stand much of a chance with 8-1, is it? Maybe a draw, but 8-1.
But you say 8-1, they've got no chance. We played Reading last year, and they were 8-1. We played Brighton last year, and I can't remember if it was 10-1 or 12-1. And yeah, look what happened there. So these results do happen, but the experts fully expect them to be few and far apart.
Yeah, I think last season you kind of not expected a shock, but you can understand the shock. I think this season it would be a massive shock. I can't see a shock coming, and obviously the experts can't see a shock coming. You might have a few Leicester fans that could potentially see it, say what's their team, week in, week out, but you'd like to think that the experts do as well. I think it's going to be interesting to see how we react to Jess up front. I think, how are we going to manage Jess? So you got Mannion, Millie and Maria, who we spoke about earlier at the start of the show. How are we who's going to be the best partnership to combat Jess? Will Jess play out wide, or will she play down the middle? We saw that in both positions on the last weekend, just gone against Villa. She didn't get many chances. She had one clear-cut chance where the goalkeeper saved it. So if she only got one chance against Villa, how many chances will she get against United? I think that we'll probably, hopefully, have Leicester's number this season. I appreciate last season they got an upset against us in the cup. But yeah, I'm firmly behind United on this one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel it was our own downfall last year. You mentioned about who's going to be best to partner. One of them, Millie, I think Millie got beaten a bit too easy for Natasha Flint's goal, if I remember rightly. And then Maria kindly gave the ball away for a one-on-one, which doesn't help anyone. It doesn't matter which team you are. If you're going to give that kind of chances, then it's not looking good. But no, I fully agree with you. I think a Man United win, and we'll all go home happy again, hopefully. I'm going to go on to Birmingham Brighton now. Now, we get funny old game, funny teams, but they've got Birmingham at 15-8. They've got the draw at 85-40, and they've got Brighton at 6-5, which they have Brighton down as favourites. Am I right thinking it's St Andrews this year they're playing, or
yeah? So, with these odds, what I would say is they're all very, very tight, aren't they? So
yes, like I said, unless it's one of the big four, they are tight together.
Yeah, which you can understand, and I think that's right in this game. I still can't see Birmingham winning. I think it would almost be like an upset with Birmingham winning, and it's bad. I know them at home; they're against a fairly weakish team. Well, not a weak, but in the bottom half kind of team. Well, I kind of see Brighton finishing this season. This is a game that if Birmingham are looking at staying up, then they're going to get maximum points here, and the pressure's going to be on, isn't it?
Yes, especially at home.
Especially at home, and it's going to be good. Let's get some points on the board for Birmingham. They've got the fans behind them. Hopefully, it'll be a good turnout for them. They are St Andrews, I'm sure of that, because they moved from Solihull Moors, haven't they? So I'm presuming it's to there. This is going to be very tough for Birmingham, but they've got to get something out of it. If they don't get something out of this game, they're going to leave themselves too much to do. So I won't give a prediction, but I still haven't got a prediction for this one yet. So this is the one that I'm kind of umming and ahhing about the most.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. And then I'm not going to talk too much about Birmingham Brighton because you obviously had your thought. You like me, I'm a bit ooh and ah, but I have got a prediction down, but we'll go through that in a minute. But Man City v Spurs. We won't go into too much details, but if you have £10 of Monopoly money and you were to go with the experts and put Spurs to win, you've just lost your Monopoly money pretty much. Man City are 1-8. A draw is 5-1. And if you do fancy the experts long shot, then it's 14-1.
14-1.
Yes,
that's the worst one out of the big three, isn't it? I think 14-1.
Yes, I think there might have been a 14-1 last week, but
yeah, last week maybe.
Don't quote me on that. I can't remember, but basically, in experts' terms, Spurs have got no chance. Would you agree?
Pretty much, yeah. Look, I know I predicted Tottenham to win last week. I think it was 1-0, wasn't it? But it was only 1-0. It was only 1-0 that they won by, and against the team that they were playing, you'd expect any other team to win more than 1-0. And I think Tottenham is kind of where I'm predicting they'll be at the end of the season, just above Birmingham. So I think going into this game, you don't really give them much chance. City on a high, winning, I say on a high, being knocked out of the Champions League, but they'll focus on the WSL. Winning 4-0 in the WSL last week will obviously they'll reflect back to that one more than the Champions League. I would hope for their case. And we spoke about a wounded animal earlier with Chelsea. Maybe City are a wounded animal here, being knocked out of the Champions League, and they'll want to put a marker down. So we speak about Arsenal going on a run. We speak about Chelsea kind of losing their first game of the season. Maybe it's going to be City coming out to this one with Arsenal, top of the league. So for me, I can't see anything else apart from a City win. It's just a case of how many goals can they actually score.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They're going to be wounded, I think, after their Champions League exit. It can only make it harder for other teams in the league, knowing the squad depth they've got, and they don't have to worry about Champions League now. You could say, yeah, they've got 3 extra games in the Conti, but City at the start would have been expecting to play more than 3 games in the Champions League. So they'll be bitterly disappointed. But I feel like there's only going to be one winner in that game. I agree with you. I agree with the experts. As much as it would be nice to have a shock, I think the most optimistic person would agree that it's going to be Man City. Now, that leads us to our predictions for this week. Now, I'll go in order of what we spoke about. So, West Ham, Villa, how do you see that one going?
This is interesting. Okay, so I think that Villa might just scrape this one again. I really do. So I know it says 2-1 Villa against Leicester. I can see a potential other 2-1 again. So, yeah, I'm going to go for 2-1 Villa. I think I was fairly impressed with what I saw at the Banksy Stadium last week. West Ham, I still haven't watched properly just yet. But yeah, let's go for another 2-1 Villa.
Oh, interesting. I'm going to go for a 1-1. I think being at West Ham's ground, Villa, they had a great result against Leicester, and Leicester, I know pushovers. The experts had them as favourites, but I feel West Ham in front of their fans as well will want to get a result. But I feel they'll best they can get as a draw personally. So we'll see how that goes. We'll move on to Chelsea, Everton then.
Yeah. Obviously, I've got to go for Chelsea on this one. I can't see Chelsea losing 2 games on the trot. I can't. So I'm probably going to say Everton will learn from the mistakes a little bit. They'll be a lot more tight to the back. They will make it harder for Chelsea to score than Man City to score. So I'm still going to say there's going to be goals. Though. That's the thing. It's hard for Chelsea not to score.
It definitely is.
So for me, let's go for 3-0 Chelsea.
Ooh. Interesting. Now, I've gone for the same difference in scoreline, but I think Everton will score. Okay. So I've gone for Chelsea to win 4-1.
Yeah.
I'm like you. I can't really see there being any other winner. It's in front of the Chelsea fans. They'll be wounded from last week's result against Arsenal, and they'll want to get their season up and running. And you don't want City and Chelsea in your first 2 games, which unfortunately this year it's Everton's turn, because if you remember rightly, we had City and Arsenal, if I remember.
Yeah, and we only lost 1-0.
Exactly. In both games.
City scored a wonder goal to beat us at the Etihad.
Yes.
And Arsenal, it took until like the 92nd minute to score. So,
yes, how disappointing was that? I remember that.
Yeah.
It's always harder driving home when you're on a disappointing result. So, No, I've gone for 4-1 there. We'll move on to Reading v Arsenal.
Yeah, I think this is the game where, I mean, I know you said 4-1, I said 3-0 Chelsea. I think this is the game that we might see a few goals. I do. You know, you think Arsenal scored 3 against Chelsea. I know you can't always say things like this, but because Reading will sit back and make it a lot more difficult, you would think. But no, I fancy Arsenal quite comfortably here, to be honest. I'm saying some high scores, aren't I? 3-0 Chelsea. I'm thinking, Reading aren't the greatest team at the moment, are they? So for me, it's either 3 or 4-0. Let's go for 3-0 on this one then.
3-0. You're making it interesting because you've not said any results that I've said yet. But you did ponder it though. Yeah. I've gone for a 4-0 win to Arsenal. I know they scored quite a lot last season. I can't remember the result at Reading, but they did score 6 or 7 in the return fixture last year. And as we know, we've discussed, Reading are a weaker team this year, I feel, with the experience they've lost. So I'm like you. I can't really see any other win than an Arsenal win. It's a tough start for Reading. Like Everton with Chelsea and City, Arsenal and Man United, it's basically the second worst combination if you look at the table from last season. So,
yeah,
unfortunately for Reading, it's going to be a long afternoon, I feel, and 4-0 for me. So, I'm going to skip Leicester Man United for now because we're going to talk about it a bit more in depth, and we'll mention some scorers, who do you think will score and that. So we'll move on to Birmingham v Brighton. How do you see this one?
Okay, well, we've had a bit of a talk about it already, so I'm just going to go straight to the scoreline. I'm going to go for an optimistic 1-1. I say optimistic for Birmingham because we've got to get them some points from somewhere. So because I'm at home, I'm just going to go 1-1. 1-1 on this one.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting point you make there. I'm being a bit more
pessimistic.
Disappointing for Birmingham fans if there is any Birmingham fans that tune in. I'm going to back Brighton again. It's not just because I come from down this way. I just generally think Birmingham are going to struggle. I didn't see much of Birmingham's game last week, but when I did check the Twitter accounts, it all seemed to be Tottenham. So Tottenham could have had more than one. I feel like Brighton have got a bit more quality up front. So that's my reason why I think 2-0 Brighton. So for me, 2-0 Brighton, and that leaves Birmingham on 0 again. But
this could be the game, Anthony, that separates me and you this week, couldn't it? Really, because I think
I think it could be maybe if we get correct results. But I'd agree. I think we've changed. You've gone for a West Ham win. I've gone for a draw.
Yeah.
So, and then you've gone for a Birmingham draw, and I've gone for a win. So they're the two ones that will be the main decisions who wins, because you did well last week. You beat me. It's a bit like as soon as I get the Jeff Sterling hosting thing, it goes wrong. I didn't even win I've beaten Jeff all year in Super 6 this season, and then I go and lose to him. So hopefully I'm not going to be cursed for as long as him.
And just before we move on, for anybody in the comments who wants to join in and put your predictions underneath, how are we scoring it, Anthony? Is it 5 points for a correct scoreline?
Yeah, 5 points for a correct scoreline, 2 points for a correct team win. A bit like Super 6.
Cool. Okay.
So, no, yeah, like John says, get in the comments, a bit of fun. So, it's just a bit of fun, and maybe we'll see who wins out of me and John through the season. But we'll move on to Man City Spurs now. I reckon you think this is going to be high scoring. I certainly do. What are you expecting?
I think we'll see quite a few goals this weekend. I really do. Not impressed with Tottenham at all. I know that they got the scrapes. Well, they got the 1-0 last week. I've said a couple of 3-0s. I think this time then I'll say a 4-0. So I'm going to go for 4-0 City on this one. Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it? I always go for one more than you. I'm because it's at City's ground.
Yeah, I know.
Fans, wounded animals. I've gone for 5-0. I can't see Spurs scoring. I know Everton had their chances, but Everton are a better team than Spurs. No disrespect to Spurs. I can't see Spurs scoring at all. And I think City will win 5-0 personally. Mm-hmm. Because time's getting on, lastly, Leicester, Manchester United. How do you see this going scoreline wise?
Yeah, I know we're away from home. I know I definitely favourites, definitely going for United win. As for the actual scoreline, are we going to concede this time? I don't know if we will. I don't know if I've seen enough of Leicester to score a goal against us just yet, because I do think we're looking quite strong at the back. And from what I've seen at Leicester, they didn't really scare me on Saturday when I saw them. So I'm going to say I'm going to keep a clean sheet. I've said too many 3-0, so I'm going to go for a 2-0. I think it might be a 2-0 United. I think that'll be a fantastic result for us. Not a bad result for Leicester, it's not a demolishing, and I don't mean to disrespect Leicester in any way, but we are favourites, and we are favourites for a reason. So I'm going to say 2-0, and I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to name the goal scorers as well.
I was just about to ask you.
Okay. So yeah, let me think about this then. Hansen can't score again. No way. She can't keep scoring.
Of course she can.
If she can't score again, I think it's somebody else's turn. I think Russo will get a goal. I think that'll be great. So I don't know if she's going to start or not, but I think Russo will get a goal. And will we see a Katie Zellum goal again? Let's go for Zellum and Russo 2-0.
Okay, I like your prediction. My prediction is a bit different to yours. Yes, Manchester United are going to. Well, I can't say they are going to win. In my mind, they will win. But I think Leicester could get a goal. I think they've got enough attacking threat up there, and it only takes a minute to switch off.
Yeah,
which we have been suspect at times to do previously. So, when I come to my prediction, this is why I had this prediction in mind, and I think Leicester are going to score 1, but I think we're going to score 3. So I think it's going to be 3-1.
Yeah.
Man United. Regarding scorers, sorry. Why can't she get another one?
I hope she does. I hope I'm wrong on this one.
We'll have to change. We'll have to change Tooney's song to Hansen's on Fire.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, definitely.
If she carries on scoring, but no, I can't see why she won't get another one. She's worked so hard, and she fully deserved player of the match last week. I agree with you. I think Russo will come on and score.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a few players. You've got Galton could pop up. You've got Zellum who could have a free kick. So it's hard. It's hard to pick because you never know set pieces as well. Mannion could come up and get ahead on it, or if Millie he plays. But just purely because she takes free kicks, I'll put Zellum.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Scorers as well.
Yeah.
But that pretty much is our predictions. Thanks for watching. Put your predictions in the comments. Even put a scoreline so we can see how you've done compared to me and John. I hope you enjoyed watching me and John. It's been a great show as always, and we'll speak to you soon. Thanks, John.
Yeah,
Take care. Thank
see
you.
soon, guys.